Hello, you guys. It is Crystal Lopez here from crystalandcomp.com. And today I'm going to show you how to take bone-in skin on chicken thighs, some brown rice, salsa, and black beans. You can use canned, or those are some that I made in the Instant Pot. We are going to make some yummy fajita seasoned chicken thighs, sheet pan style with some veggies, and a pot of delicious beans and rice that is so filling. You're going to love it. All right, let me show you how to do this. All right, so let's get started. You're going to preheat your oven. I put it at about 395. We have the bone-in skin on chicken thighs. That's my favorite salsa for the rice dish that we're making, or to use my own homemade salsa, but I really like that salsa for this particular beans and rice dish that we're gonna make. So we're using chicken thighs. You can use any cut of meat. I will tell you, I sent one of the teenagers and a cousin to the store to grab chicken for me. I really wanted chicken quarters and that didn't have seasoning because I was going to season them myself. And Walmart was sold out of chicken quarters. You could use chicken quarters, you could use just drumsticks, or you could do the thighs. But if you will do it with the bone and skin on, a couple of things happen. Number one, you're going to pay a lesser price because of the bone and the skin. And this is going to be more flavorful and it's not going to dry out because the bone and the skin really help with flavor and help to keep it from drying out. So if you struggle with your chicken drying out, go with something that has the skin on it, okay? So this is enough chicken here for me to do 2 sheet pans. I do like to use parchment paper to cover the pan because it makes for just an easier cleanup. And we want to make sure that we put these chicken thighs evenly on the sheet pan. We don't want them overlapping. That's going to impact your cook time. Um, we're going to actually use one of the Kinder's fajita seasons to go on top of this. Just evenly sprinkle it. You can do both sides if you want. It doesn't matter. This is going to be very flavorful, very delicious. We're also going to cut up an onion and put that on top, as well as some veggies that I had in the fridge that I felt like would go well with this, which was the little mini peppers, just to kind of give it that fajita feel. It really was simple and delicious and a great way to use up some of the things that I had on hand. If you had regular bell peppers, that would work as well. You could add mushrooms to this. You could add a variety of different onions, white, yellow, and purple. Whatever you think would be yummy with like a fajita style seasoning, go for it. Add whatever you want to this. We're actually going to serve it with tortillas. You can take this meat and peel it off the bone or debone it and put it inside of a tortilla or just eat the tortilla on the side. It's all really up to you. Some of my kids took the beans and rice mixture and pieces of chicken and some of the onions and some of the bell pepper and made little tacos with it. Look at how delicious that is. So we were feeding 8 people this night and I ended up with enough for some leftovers for a couple of lunches and just an extra here and there, kind of like pull. I still had 3 more chicken thighs, so pull those out and whoever wants to eat them can have them. So now we are going to start cutting up our onion and some garlic because we are going to make the beans and rice. Now this is a 1-pot side dish. I will tell you, brown rice takes a long time to cook. I've tried making this with white rice and I did not like the way that it turned out. I also made it one time in the Instant Pot, or a couple of times in the Instant Pot, and it came out really well, but I would have to sit down and I didn't write it down and I would have to figure out what those measurements would be because it does change in your Instant Pot. And you've got a certain amount of water that you're putting in here, or broth, plus the salsa, so it changes, it makes it different. Anyway, I really, really should have started the rice first because we were waiting for it. And I always think it's going to cook quicker than it does. But brown rice takes a while. It can take up to an hour for brown rice to cook, depending on how you do it. All right. You can do it in the Instant Pot in like 22 minutes. So we're going to cut up some, like I said, some onions, and then we're going to cut up some garlic, and we are going to add that to the pot and toast our brown rice with a little bit of olive oil. So once the onions get translucent with the garlic and they become very fragrant, then that's when you're going to add your brown rice. I am actually tripling this recipe. So what you see here is a triple version of it because I'm feeding so many and I want to have leftovers. It's an easy thing for me to heat up for lunch the next day for myself or continue, if we eat up all the chicken, the rice and beans will last for a couple of days. I mean, 5 days or so in the fridge, and we can keep using them as a side for those that don't want plain white rice, who might get tired of plain white rice because we do eat a lot of rice. So when you're toasting this, it is going to start to smell kind of nutty, and that is a good indication. You want to make sure that you get this nice and toasted. Don't let it burn. You've got some olive oil down there, so it shouldn't be sticking. You want to just kind of keep stirring it and making sure that all of the rice grains are getting well toasted and covered in oil. And then we're going to start adding some more ingredients. Okay, then we're going to add that salsa. That particular salsa is very chunky, and I really, really like the flavor that it gives and the chunkiness. It's almost like a hybrid between salsa and Rotel, a can of Rotel. So we're going to add that in, and then you're going to add your canned beans, or so you want 1 can of beans for each. Um, I tripled the recipe, so I'm putting in the equivalent of 3 cans of beans, but I'm using this that I made in the Instant Pot. Making black beans in the Instant Pot is super easy and pretty quick. And you can make a bunch of it and freeze it for later, or just make a bunch and have it in the fridge and eat off of it for a couple of days. When I cooked this, I used onion, garlic, cilantro, cumin, and then water or broth. It is really that simple. It is so delicious too. Now, some of the beans, so the beans didn't have, they've been in the fridge, so they're kind of thicker and there's not a lot of juice and liquid, but that's okay. As we are adding the liquid to the pot of beans, or to the pot of rice and beans, the beans are going to start to break apart as they cook, and especially as it starts to boil, they're going to come apart. So just because they're kind of clumpy right now, don't let that gross you out or make you feel like, oh, what's that going to be like when it's finished? It's going to be perfect and delicious. So we're going to add water and some bouillon, or just add broth. Or if you only have water, just do water. That's totally fine. We're also going to add some salt and pepper. This may need more salt. I kind of go easy on the salt. And then at the end, when I'm taste testing it, if it needs more salt, I'll add more then. I don't want to oversalt it with that broth in there. But now we want to bring this to a nice rapid boil and let it boil for a few minutes because this is brown rice that we're cooking. So the more that we can let it boil, the faster it's going to, we're going to be able to evaporate that water, even though it takes so much longer for the process to happen with brown rice than with white rice. However, brown rice is a lot better for you. I did feel like it needed a little more broth, so I added a little bit of the tomato bouillon. I felt like it needed some more broth flavor, so I added some of the tomato bouillon, which added some nice. Just be careful, you don't want it to get too salty. All right, so I'm stirring this as it's boiling. I want it to boil a little bit more, but do you see how those beans are all separating now? Like they're not clumpy anymore. It's doing exactly what it should, and I've got my heat on high, and I just want to keep letting this boil a bit. All right, so after, 10 minutes or so of boiling, I keep stirring it because I don't want it to stick. And it's starting to get a little starchier. It's starting to thicken up because you've got the rice and you've got the beans in there. And we're going to put a lid on it and move it down to a warm, like a low, not completely low, but a pretty low setting. We want to still keep some heat going, or some heat, um, heating up the broth that's in there so that it will continue to thicken and evaporate. If your chicken gets done before your rice is ready, so say it's going to be another 25 minutes before your rice is ready, just move the heat in the oven down so that your chicken doesn't overcook and let it stay in there so that it keeps getting warm. We've got another pan here on the stove and we're going to start warming up our tortillas. We love these tortillas that we get from HEB. They are a regular in our house. We use them for tacos, burritos, fajitas, quesadillas. We use them as a side. We use them to dip in homemade salsa, like you name it. We make breakfast tacos a lot with them as well. They're really, really delicious. And this night, I'm just heating up a bunch, putting them in my tortilla warmer, and everybody, like I said, some people used them to make little taco or little fajitas with their bean rice mixture and took the chicken off the bone, and others just had the tortilla on the side as just something extra to eat. But these keep really well in the fridge and we always have them on hand. Now here's our chicken. Look at how delicious that is. So good. So there it is, yummy, yummy. And all of those juices that chicken made on its own while it was cooking. And this is tender and juicy and just absolutely perfect. We loved it. And then our tortillas are ready, and we've got a whole little stockpile of those there. Even if your tortillas from HEB have not been refrigerated, you still want to heat them up on the griddle or on the stove top. They just are so much better when they're heated up. And, you know, they've got the little heat up spots on them. They're not burn marks, but the little toasty spots. We've got our chicken coming out of the oven, and this rice is finally done. It was a teeny tiny bit al dente, but you put the lid back on it after you serve everybody, and it will continue to kind of cook and steam in the pot. So I did buy avocados and I completely forgot to serve them with this. I really, really like to serve this with the beans and rice with slices of avocado on top for those who like it. You can also add to the top some cheese and some sour cream or some Greek yogurt, which is what we always have. Really, really delicious. So good. I could eat that beans and rice almost every day. I really love it. All right, so here is what our plate looks like. Absolutely delicious. We're going to top that with some cheese. I like to put some Greek yogurt, like I said, on top of mine, but not everybody likes that. We've got some onion and pepper there. We've got the chicken and then just a tortilla that's folded up on the plate, and they can do with it as they wish. Filling, delicious, easy, incredible dinner idea, guys. You can do chicken and rice so many different ways and it doesn't get old. And it's affordable. It's super affordable. Okay, guys, let me know, what are some of your favorite ways to eat chicken and rice for dinner? Leave me a comment. All right, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.